and come onto it. You're going to fold a leg up. Other leg, just to start with, is just out to the side. So the foot and knee aren't facing forward, but it's out to the side. Okay? And just kind of play with where your torso is and what you feel in both of the legs. Then we're going to heel toe this leg back. So now the thigh kind of topples forward. We're sort of in an elevated 90-90 using this chair. Okay, so we're just going to work our torso turning towards that back leg, and then turning to angle over that front leg. And we're just going to kind of work between these two. You can use your hands on the chair to push and pull to kind of find some lines of direction, tension, pull that feel useful and usable for you. Okay, when you find something useful and usable, you'll just take a couple of breaths there. Okay, then we're going to take that leg out to the side, like so. And I'm going to use my leg, that's the arm of the leg that's extended, and reach over onto the chair back. Okay, now I'm going to let myself, so my rib cage kind of gets cradled by this arm, and I let myself fold away from the chair back. I could push this hand a little bit, or just let it rest there. You could also reach this hand up, draw some circles at the elbow. You could reach that arm overhead. You could clasp the underside of the head. And then you could play with where you look down, forward, up towards that bicep. They're all going to give kind of different lines of pull or input. And again, find a place where it feels like some interesting, useful, usable lines of direction, tension, sensation in your body. Take a couple of breaths there. Then to come out, we're going to let ourselves roll forward into that arm and all the way around to come up. Okay, we're going to come up and use the chair in this way. I need 2 blocks, okay, just because the chair seat is a bit lower than what I want. So I'm going to bring my shin onto those blocks, so then where my thigh is where my thigh is. Again, I'm going to get a little pitch forward of my torso, similar to what the angle of this chair back is. Okay? And then I'm going to work that pitching the knee down as I just kind of rock from my back foot up onto the toes. My back knee bends. Straighten that back leg. Just kind of a rocking elevated pigeon here. So the next time I come up, I'm going to find a place that I can work into that power pad of the back leg. Okay, I can work into the power pads on that chair and get a sense of those points of contact lifting me. Even this shin that's on the blocks, I'm kind of kicking into the power pad of that foot so that I lift up into this pigeon pose. Maybe I take a hand off, reach up, reach behind the head. Okay, and then I'm going to swing that shin around, step that foot forward, and we're going to clip those blocks down. So then let's take the chair over to the other side. And we're going to come up onto that chair seat with our leg and take our other leg out. Just play with it. And then from here, toppling that knee forward. Don't be afraid to take the foot back towards that back edge of the mat. So we've got a more externally rotated leg, more internally rotated leg. And then use the chair to help facilitate a pull and a push with the hands to turn yourself more over that front leg and or more over that back leg. And we're just going to kind of move between the front leg and the back leg. And stay for a few breaths. Anywhere that you find kind of some useful and usable sensations here. Okay, and then we're going to slide that leg out. Okay, and kind of get wedged into the parapet of that foot. Then we're going to take the arm of that leg that's extended. I'm going to reach it across. There's lots of places on the chair back that you can hook on. And then you're going to drape your rib cage over that upper arm. Okay, you could use that other arm to create a bit of a push, to add weight, to add support. And then play with just turning the laser on your breastbone kind of down towards the front of the room, towards the ceiling. And again, find the angle of that laser that provides kind of useful, usable sensation for you. And then you're going to roll that laser down towards the ground and back up to the seated position. Okay, we're going to unhook the leg. This is where we're going to grab a couple of yoga blocks, place them on that seat. Could also be a bolster. I'm going to come with my shin onto those yoga blocks. So your foot might be out to the side here. It might be back closer underneath you. And then again, I can start to use the angle of this chair back to get this angle with my torso. And then I'm going to work rolling through that back leg and onto the ball of the foot, this front thigh, hip pitching down, pitching up, pitching down, pitching up. I kind of kick into the power pads of both these feet to pitch up, pitching down, pitching up. So my torso is mirroring the angle of the back of the chair as I pitch the hip end of this thigh down, and then I pitch it up. Or I could think of pitching this end of the thigh up and then pitching it down. Up and then pitching it down. Okay? Whoo! Find that power pad of both of the feet, of the hands. Now let's lift up. So now my spine isn't and torso isn't mirroring the chair back. And it might be too that I reach an arm up and back, working into the power pads of the feet and the hands to find this lift out of this elevated pigeon. Okay, and then we're going to come off of that. Okay, we're going to use the wall and the chair and our yoga blocks. So we're going to face the wall with our chair, and I'm going to get close enough to the wall that I get the pads of my feet on the wall, and then I'm going to place the yoga blocks down and under the back side behind my lower shins here. Okay, so you might have to, I think I have to get a little further. There we go. So I've kind of got them wedged. You want definitely contact with the lower shin and the ability to have the balls of the feet on the wall. Okay. So now from here, I'm just going to work kicking the balls of the feet up the wall to start to find a forward fold for myself. Kick the balls of the feet up the wall. Kick the balls of the feet up the wall. Kick the balls of the feet up the wall. This next time when I kick the, oh, I would love, make a little change here. I would love to have the back legs of this chair a little bit elevated. Because otherwise I'm kind of smushing my hamstrings on the front edge of my chair. So not a huge amount of height, but just a little bit so that the chair seat slopes in the direction that I want my pelvis to go. Okay, so balls of the feet get on the wall. I'm working, kicking those power pads, into the wall. Those yoga blocks are behind my lower shins. So although I'm kicking the power pads, there's also a sense of pushing my shins into the yoga blocks. And then I start to feel, so if you watch this Lululemon tag, what we want to start to feel is not that I round through my back, but that this tag starts to come towards my pubic bone. This tag starts to come towards the pubic bone. Okay? Belly comes onto the thighs. Hands I could fold my forearms, rest them on my knees. Take a few breaths here. You could reach the hands behind the chair and somewhere. Take a few breaths. You could bring the hands down and onto the wall. Kind of find the power pads on the wall. And then walk the hands back up. Hands are going to come down the back of the chair legs. Maybe the seat of the chair, the fingers roll under. And just kind of find where it feels like you can kind of start to roll the elbows, the arms, the shoulders. And again, this like we did with pigeon, but there's like this sense of lift. So also don't be afraid. Everybody's kind of torso length and things are different. That you might need to come up, or you might want to come up onto some yoga blocks. And again, play with, so for some of us, like this is going to be too low of a hinge point. And we're going to be better on the seat of the chair. Okay? Some of us might just want to move our bum towards the front of the seat. And now again, I get into a different place where now I can kind of work those vertebrae around the chair back and just take some breaths there. Maybe I scoot my bum forward a little bit more, change the grip of my hands and arms. And again, I get into a different point on that chair back. Maybe I bring the balls of the feet back to the wall, kick up through the power pads of the feet, and just kind of work some different areas along that spine that aren't just your kind of go-to hinge point. Okay? Spend a bit of time, take a few breaths there, move to the next spot. We could also use the chair this way, and that we now come down into tall kneeling. So now I'm in tall kneeling. Oh, I'm going to get my feet underneath. Yeah, I'm in tall kneeling, and then I can work my hands this way, down the chair arms, onto the chair seat back. Again, to kind of find where that line of like wrapping the arms, where I can get into a different action with my vertebra than maybe that vertebra likes to do. I'm tipping the chair onto the front two legs, or the legs closest to me a little bit. Then I tip it back down. Maybe I work out a little bit. Walk out a little bit, walk out a little bit. Again, tip the chair back, just so we start to get into some different areas. I could take a couple of breaths here, kick through the power pads of the feet. So you can start to work into putting some direction into the spine where maybe it doesn't get that much extension, and now we'll work flexion a little bit. Okay? But I do love just a nice rounded folding chair back because I can get into lots of the little niggles and nooks and crannies of those vertebrae. And remember what we do with the hands, the power pads of the hands, and even this sense of rotation with the fingers in what we're grasping puts a direction into those vertebrae. Okay? So I'm going to work flexion again here using the chair back. Actually, I'm going to fold this guy. Let's grab a blanket. I'm going to grab a felt pad and grab a blanket. I'm going to work it this way. So I'm going to take that felt pad and work it right up into my hip crease and at my pubic bone. So as I fold over, it like leaves me some space in the front of the hip. And then find the chair legs. Maybe you want to use a chair block, just so the head is able to rest on something. So that blanket or felt pad at the hip crease helps me to get less flexion with these lumbar vertebra and moves it up my back a little bit. Could cross the wrists, and again, just kind of play with how you wrap the fingers on that chair and feel for what you do with the fingers and the wrists to what puts in a bit more sense of flexion or rounding into that spine. And don't forget to have weight more in the mid-foot, foot side of the MTP joint, but I'm still working the heel underneath. I'm not pinching the skin of the heel with the heel bone, but I'm able to kind of nod and roll that heel bone to get me nice and connected through the backs of the legs. Okay, let's soften those knees and then kick through the power pads of the feet, rolling ourselves up to a standing position. Okay, we're going to come on down to the ground.